The persecutions of the apostles, the fire that purifies faith. Kardec explains that, after the visible disappearance of Jesus, the apostles found themselves surrounded by persecutions, slanders, and threats. The Roman power and religious authorities feared the strength of a doctrine that preached equality, love, and inner freedom. In the eyes of the world, those simple men seemed fragile, but spiritually, they became giants. The invisible presence of Christ strengthened them, and what seemed like defeat transformed into moral victory. Spiritual history shows that persecution has always been the crucible where the gold of faith is purified. When suffering is accepted with love, it transforms into creative energy. The apostles, sustained by the certainty of eternal life and the remembrance of the Master's words, did not react with hatred, but with courage and compassion. They understood that the cross of Christ was not the end, but the beginning of humanity's redemption. The psychology of resilience confirms that beings endowed with a higher purpose endure pain with serenity. When the mind connects to a transcendent ideal, the brain releases substances that neutralize fear and awaken courage. The apostles experienced this state of higher consciousness, a spiritual trance of unwavering faith. They no longer fought for survival, but for the light of truth they had witnessed. Kardec observes that persecution, although cruel, had an educational function. The early Christians spread across various regions, taking the gospel with them. What seemed like dispersion was, in reality, the divine strategy to sow the truth in fertile ground. Thus, the blood of the martyrs became the seed of new awakened hearts. Each imprisonment, each torment, each unjust death ignited new flames of faith. Spiritual sociology reveals that every new idea, when it threatens power structures, is met with resistance. The truth sets you free, and freedom terrifies those who live from domination. The apostles were fought not for their words, but for what they represented: the emancipation of the human spirit. And this emancipation, once initiated, is irreversible. The quantum physics of consciousness offers a symbolic image. When a high energy is compressed, it does not destroy itself. It radiates with even more strength. Thus, it was with the nascent Christianity. The more oppressed it was, the more it expanded. The moral vibration of the apostles, in harmony with that of Christ, formed an energetic field of faith and love that transcended the centuries. Each prayer, each example, each forgiveness emanated spiritual waves that continue to act to this day. Kardec explains that the suffering of the apostles was not punishment, but a test of fidelity. Pain, when lived with faith, purifies the spirit and brings it closer to God. By accepting persecution with serenity, the disciples silently witnessed the victory of good over evil. Human power can hurt the body, but never the spirit. And it was this certainty that made them instruments of eternal truth. Spiritual neuroscience demonstrates that elevated emotions, such as compassion, faith, and hope, create heart and brain coherence, amplifying vital energy. The apostles lived in this state of divine coherence. Their hearts beat in rhythm with the gospel. Therefore, nothing shook them. Even in the face of death, they felt peace, for they knew that life does not end. It only transforms. The physics of moral resonance shows that every vibration of love is contagious. The courage of the apostles generated vibrational fields that inspired generations. Thousands of souls awakened simply by witnessing their serenity in the face of suffering. Example has creative power. It is teaching in its purest form. Kardec reminds us that Spiritism revives this same ideal, inviting modern man to patiently endure the small persecutions of life, the criticisms, the misunderstandings, the injustices, transforming them into opportunities for moral growth. Each obstacle is a chance to demonstrate faith. Each adversity is a step toward the light. Just as the apostles faced hatred with love, today's man is called to respond to ignorance with serenity and wisdom. The lesson remains the same. Good is always victorious, even if the world crucifies it. The moral physics of the gospel teaches that no opposing force can halt the advance of light. The persecutions of the apostles were the most intense notes of the divine symphony of human redemption. The flame lit on Golgotha has never been extinguished. It burns, silent and eternal, in every soul that chooses love over fear. Understanding the persecutions of the apostles is to understand that suffering, when illuminated by faith, ceases to be punishment and becomes a mission. Christ did not ask for triumphant followers, but faithful disciples, capable of loving until the end. If this reflection has brought you strength and comfort, share it. Because understanding the persecutions of the apostles is recognizing that pain, when guided by love, transforms into a flame that illuminates the world.